Good day, brothers and sisters in Christ. I welcome you to our Sunday reflection for the second Sunday of the year A. The theme of our reflection is Live with a Sense of Mission. I came baptizing with water that he might be revealed to Israel. John chapter 1, verse 31. Stuart Long, popularly known as Father Stu, an amateur boxer from Helena, Montana, became a priest under unlikely circumstances. An injury ended his boxing career, and he moved to California to pursue acting. While waiting for a role, he worked as a supermarket clerk. He met Carmen, a school teacher, who insisted he converts to Catholicism before they could marry. To impress her, he began attending church. After a motorcycle accident and visions of the Virgin Mary instructing him to make his life worthwhile, he decided to help others and considered becoming a priest. Diagnosed with ALS in seminary, he was initially angry at God, but later saw value in his suffering. Despite the odds, he was ordained and served a minister in Montana. Later confined to a nursing home, he continued ministering to people who flocked to him until his death at 50. Though not a model in any sense of the word, God spoke to Father Stu through his struggles, and he responded with generosity, thus finding his mission. This week's readings remind us to be attentive to our mission, which is to make Jesus visible in the world. St. Paul tells us that God sent him with a special commission to announce Jesus to the nations. John the Baptist identified himself as the one whose sole mission was to make Jesus known to the people of Israel. The first reading presents a problem with the servant's identity. The point is that this servant could be anyone willing to allow God to work through them. The servant's condition is deplorable, yet God intends to become visible through him. We became that servant at our baptism and pledged to make Jesus known, served, and loved. Why do we find it challenging to fulfill this mission? We all want to know our mission. However, it seems to elude most of us. How do we discover our mission? There is a minor detail in our second reading that may help us. Paul mentions a man called Sosthenes as his companion. In Acts of the Apostles, chapter 18, from verse 12 to 17, when Paul was preaching in Corinth, Sosthenes, then the synagogue leader, had Paul arrested and brought before the Roman governor. When the governor dismissed the case, the synagogue members turned on Sosthenes and beat him to a pulp. This humiliation sparked his conversion to Christ, and he became an aid to St. Paul. Like Sosthenes, our lives can proceed along one path when a reversal, a tragedy, or an eye-opening event dramatically reveals infinite possibilities. Such events dispel our illusions and draw us more deeply towards the Lord. What was once an omission in our lives now becomes our mission. Sosthenes discovered his mission by embracing humiliation. Being broken is necessary for mission. Henry Nouwen compares our lives to the Eucharist. He states that God calls, blesses, and breaks us before giving us to the world. We tend to resist, but if God does not break us, he cannot send us on a mission. If being broken is necessary, the first response to our brokenness is to face it squarely and befriend it. This may seem quite unnatural. Our first most spontaneous response to pain and suffering is to avoid it, to keep it at arm's length, to ignore, circumvent, or deny it. Suffering, be it physical, mental, or emotional, is almost always experienced as an unwelcome intrusion into our lives, something that should not be there. It is difficult, if not impossible, to see anything positive in suffering. It must be avoided at all costs. End of quote. We must not run away from suffering as it facilitates our mission. God broke Father's tomb before sending him on a mission. He embraced every humiliating event with grace and realized that God was calling him to a mission. According to St. Teresa of Avila, to have courage for whatever comes in life, everything lies in that. End of quote. So this week I want you to do the following. Recall an event that was life-changing for you. What was the resolution you made at the time? Are you still faithful to the resolution? Secondly, contact someone who is going through a life-changing experience. Visit with them and be a sign of God's presence. Have a blessed week.